Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. Then, just to quickly run through what we talked about the other day, which was the fact that ibadah, فَمِنْ أَعْظَمِ الْإِبَادَاتِ فِي كُلِّ عَصْرٍ هُوَ الْعِلْمُ, that from the greatest or most tremendous acts of worship at every time is knowledge. ويتأكد العلم في طلبه وحفظه والرسوخ فيه, and that knowledge is confirmed, or terms of it, and the greatness of it is confirmed in its seeking it, and memorizing it, and in becoming firmly grounded in it. في زمن تموج فيه الفتن, in a time when the trials and tribulations are swelling. كموج البحر, like the wave or waves of the sea. أو أشد من ذلك, more than that. وإذا كان الناس في غفلة, and if the people were in a state of forgetfulness or heedlessness, أو في سعي أو سعي أو لهو من أمور الدنيا, or they're striving and busy with the amusements of the dunya. Allah Azza wa Jal yastafi man yasha'u min ibadi, then Allah chooses who He wills from His slaves. لِيَكُونُوا مُقَرَّبِينَ, to be those who are drawn close. لِيَكُونُوا مِنْ أَوْلِيَائِهِ, and to be from those who are His awliya, His walis, His friends, His subhanahu wa ta'ala. حيث أن العبادة في زمن الفتن يعظم ثوابه, until the point that ibadah, acts of worship, at the times of trials and tribulation, then its reward is greater. طلب العلم نوع من أنواع العبادة, and seeking knowledge is a type from the types of acts of worship. بل إن بعض أهل العلم, rather some of the people of knowledge, قدمه على الجهاد في سبيل الله, put it forward before jihad in the way of Allah. قال ابن القيم said, بل هو نوع من الجهاد, بل هو أفضل الجهاد. He said, rather it is a type of jihad, rather it is the best of jihad. وكذا قال شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله, and likewise Shaykh al-Islam said, and he said, ومن فضل الله عز وجل أن هذه العبادة لم تكن مقصورة على سن معين. And from the virtue of Allah, or the grace of Allah, the bounty of Allah, is that this knowledge is not limited to a specific age, or ala jinsin muayyin, or a specific gender. بل كانت للصغار والكبار, rather is for the young and the old. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم بجميع أفراد الأمة, and the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was concerned with all of the individuals of the ummah, of this nation. فقال لابن Abbas, so he said to Ibn Abbas, وهو غلام, and he was a youth, احفظ الله يحفظك, protect and preserve Allah, and He'll protect and preserve you. وأخذ العلم من النساء, and knowledge was taken from the women. وأخذ الصحابة العلم أيضا عن الكبار, and the Sahaba, they took knowledge also from the elderly. بل أخذوا العلم عن النساء, in fact they took knowledge from the women. فدل على أن هذه العبادة وهي العلم. So this points to, or it proves, that this act of worship, which is knowledge, ليست مقصورة على أحد. It is not limited to anyone. وليكون المسلم من هذه العبادة. And so that the Muslim will become skilled in this act of worship. متعديا نفعه إلى غيره بها. And so that he can pass the benefit on to other than him. صنف أهل العلم, the people of knowledge wrote or authored في كل فن من فنون العلم, in every subject from the subjects of Islam, or subjects of knowledge, متن. They wrote a text. They wrote a specific, like, small text. ليسهل حفظه على المسلمين, in order to make memorization of it easy for the Muslims. وليجمعوا شوارده, and to gather its benefits. وليوضحوا مجمله, and to clarify its generalities. يكون أسرع في الإحضار, and to become the quickest way of bringing forth the evidence, basically. That's where we stopped. وحفظ المتون هي طريقة السلف, and memorizing texts, it is the way of the Salaf. The way, the tariqah of the Salaf. Way of the Salaf. Laysa tariqatu mubtadi'a. It is not. Laysa is a negation. Tariqatal mubtadi'a. Tariqah in way. Mubtadi'a from ba dal ain, like bid'ah. It is not from the way of the innovators. Tariqata, because of the laysa. Mubtadi'atin mudaf ilay. Laysa tariqata mubtadi'atin. Walaysat tariqatu or tariqata muhdathatin. Now here a question. As we said, this is a audio transcript. So a few things could happen here. The sheikh, he could make a mistake in his speech, or the person transcribing it could make a mistake in his transcription. But tariqah is feminine with that ta marbuta. So this should be, and Allah knows best, laysat. Right? Because tariqah is feminine. And here we have it here being feminine. Walaysat. Tariqata muhdathatin. Muhdatha is innovation, just like bid'ah. As the Prophet ﷺ said, وَكُلُّ بِدْ وَشَرَّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا وَكُلُّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ. So the word mubtada, or mubtadi'a, and muhdatha are synonyms, basically. Right? But this laysat should be laysat. I'm not sure if he said it on the audio and they just transcribed it wrong, or he may have said it like this or the audio wasn't clear, possible, right? But that laysa, Allah should be laysat. As we said, this is a transcription. It's not something that the sheikh overlooked and then approved. Rather, this is what the sheikh said, word for word. وحفظ المتون هي طريقة السلف. حفظ المتون, memorizing the texts, is from the way of the Salaf. Hifz is a noun. So this is a nominal sentence. This is what we would call our mubtada. حفظ المتون مضاف إليه. هي, right? هي طريقة السلف. طريقة is our khabar, right? It's our khabar. طريقة السلف مضاف إليه. ليس or ليست طريقة or طريقة, because ليس or ليست makes the noun following it منصوب. ليست طريقة مبتدعة. It's not the way of innovators. Or this could be an adjective, meaning it is not an innovated way, right? And this could be وَلَيْسَتْ طَرِيقَةَ مُحْدَثَةً. Could be tanweens here, right? This could be the way of innovators, or it could be the way of an innovated way. Either way, it doesn't matter. وَلَا عَزُوفٌ عَنْهَا طَرِيقَةٌ خَاطِئَةٌ. This is definitely either a speech mistake or a transcription mistake. This la does not belong, right? Azuf from Ain Zay Fa. It means to be disinclined or averse to something. Azuf is to be disinclined or azuf to something. So it should say wal azufu anha, and being averse to it, meaning the way of memorizing, the issue of memorizing the text, turning away from it, being averse to it. Tariqatun khati'atun is a dangerous path, or a mistaken path, rather, not dangerous, mistaken. Khata'a, right? A mistake. Being in turning away from it, having an aversion for memorizing these texts, is a tariqatun khati'atun, a mistaken path, a mistaken way. If I were to say wala al-azuf, if this la was there, and not being averse to it is a mistaken way. So we see clearly that this doesn't make sense with the la in there. Wal azufu anha tariqatun khati'atun. And being averse to memorizing, being averse to this way of memorizing things is a mistaken way. بل كان العلماء من السابق يحفظون في المتون. Rather, كان العلماء, the plural of alim, or al-alim, right, scholar. كان العلماء من السابق, right, سابقي, because of min, from before. Sabiq is from before, right? Sabiq is what happened previously, right? Sabiq, before. بل كان العلماء من السابق يحفظون في المتون. They used to memorize in the texts. They used to memorize the text that Fi wouldn't necessarily be translated for us. They used to memorize texts, right? They used to busy themselves in memorizing the texts. Is there any questions about that paragraph? Having a hard time here, huh? Nawawi. This ra is a mistake. This should be a Nawawi, like Al-Hafiz al-Nawawi from 40 Hadith. But Nawawi mathalan. Nawawi mathalan meaning is an example. For example, Nassa. Nassa, like we have in a hadith, we have something called the matan and the isnad. Or the matan can also be called the nas, the text. Right here, it means it's a verb. It means nassa means it's been narrated. It has been narrated. It has been written. It has been said about this person, right? Nassa ala annahu yahfadha al-muhadhab. It's been written or recorded or stated about him, said about him, annahu, that he yahfadhu, he memorized al-muhadhab. Al-muhadhab is a book in fiqh, big book. Today when it's printed, it's like 12 volumes. Now, it has a lot of footnotes and stuff, so I don't know how big it would be if it was by itself. But today it's printed in about 12 volumes, al-muhadhab. He memorized it. فالنووي مثلا نص على أنه يحفظ المهذب. It is narrated, it is said, it is stated about him that he memorized al-muhadhib. وكذا, meaning and likewise, and so نص كثير من أهل العلم, من أهل العلم. And likewise, it's كثير من أهل العلم. Right? Likewise, it's been narrated that many of the people of knowledge, كَذَهَبِ وَغَيْرُهُ, like, ka here is like, الذهبي وغيره, ka or غيره. Why غيره? Because ka is a harf jar. It is a preposition which makes the noun following it majroor. كَذَهَبِ وغيره. على حفظهم للمحرر في الحديث. This book, Al-Muharrar fil Hadith by Ibn Abdul Hadi, one of the students of Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. He is a scholar who died before the age of 40. Right? Al-Muharrar fil Hadith. It has around 1,200 hadith in it. So, وَكَذَا نَصَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ. And likewise, many of the people of knowledge have stated, like Dhahabi and other than them, about, or it's been narrated about كَثِيرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ, that they memorized stuff like Al-Muharrar fil Hadith. وَلَا يَكَادُ. Rather, وَلَا يَكَادُ. Yakad, we're going to look it up. Kaf, waw, dal. Meaning, when you put this together, la yakadu, it means it's hardly possible. It's hardly possible or hardly present, right? You almost won't see it, something like that, right? It's almost impossible. Right? Well, وَلَا يَكَادُ, and it's nearly impossible, it's almost impossible. لَا يُعْلَمُ عَالِمٌ مِنْ عُلَمَاء هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ. لَا يُعْلَمُ, meaning it is not known. عَالِمٌ, and alam is not known. Min ulama hadhihi al-ummah, from the scholars of this ummah. It is hardly known. Basically, is hardly that you will not know a scholar from the scholars of this ummah illa, except وَيَحْفَظُ مُتُونًا فِي الدِّينِ, except that he memorized texts in the religion. وَبِهَذَا يرسخ في العلم. وبهذا, and with this, يرسخ from رسخ, like we said in Surah Ali Imran, الراسخين, meaning to become firmly grounded. وبهذا, and with this, meaning, and with memorizing matun, you become firmly grounded. يرسخ بالعلم, you become firmly grounded in knowledge. Any questions?
لا.
Okay, give me a second here. Okay, this is where we started at, so I don't need to do anything else. You ready, Abu Tahir?
طيب. وحفظ المتون هي طريقة السلف، ليست طريقة مبتدئة، وليست طريقة محدثة. والوظوف عنها طريقة قاطعة، بل كان علماء من السابق.
No, كان علماء, because ulama is the ism of kana. The ism of kana is marfu'. The ism of inna is mansub.
طيب.
Right?
بل نعم بارك الله فيك. بل كان العلماء من السابق يحفظون في المتون. فالنووي مثلا نص على أنه يحفظ المحدث.
نعم.
وكذا نص كثيرا من أهل العلم كالذهبي وغيره حفظهما للمحرر. للمحرر.
نعم, with a kasra because of the lil. Man, muharrar.
للمحرر.
نعم.
في الحديث. بل ولا يكاد لا يعلم عالم من العلماء هذه الأمة إلا يحفظ متون في الدين، وبهذا يرسك في العلم.
You want me to pass you up because you're driving, Abdullah?
نعم.
طيب. أما الذي لا يحفظ المتن. As for, أما is as for. الذي, the one. لا يحفظ المتن. He doesn't memorize the matan. مفعول به منصوب. لا يكون راسخا في العلم. He will not become, or he will not be firmly grounded. راسخا, firmly grounded in knowledge. ولا يزاهد في حفظ المتون. ولا يزاهد from zay dal, meaning, like we all know the word zuhud, right? We all know a zuhud, right? Where a person stays away from the dunya. He avoids all the luxuries of the dunya, right? Zahid. Wala yuzahidu, meaning, and no one stays away from it. No one abstains from. Fi hifdh al-mutun, from memorizing texts. Illa, except, man la yahfadha, except for the one who doesn't memorize them. The one who says, no, we don't need that. The person who stays away from the dunya says, we don't need this dunya, we just need the hereafter. This dunya is nothing but a distraction, fine, no problem. When it comes to the dunya, that's fine. As for saying we don't need to memorize text, that's not necessary. No, we don't need to do so. Right? This is said except from someone who إِلَّا مَنْ لَا يَحْفَظُهَا, except from the one who doesn't memorize them. أَمَّا الَّذِي يَحْفَظُهَا, as for the one who memorizes them, هُوَ الَّذِي, he is the one قَدْ عَرَفَ قَدْرَهَا. قَدْ عَرِفَ, if I go up there, let me try to get him on one page, 1 second. Inshallah. Now, وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَمَّا الَّذِي, as for the one يَحْفَظُهَا, who memorizes them, هُوَ الَّذِي, he is the one who قَدْ, here is emphasis, قَدْ عَرِفَ قَدْرَهَا, he knew, from like alima, arifa, to know. Qadraha, meaning their worth. Qadr is something's worth, like when Allah sends down the qadr. Right? When Allah decrees something, He's giving it a measurement. He's giving it a worth. Right? Qadraha here means its worth. He knows their worth, their value. وَحَفِظَهَا, so he memorized them. وَحَثَّ غَيْرَهُ, and he encourages. حَثَّ to encourage. غَيْرَهُ مَفْعُولٌ بِهِ مَنْسُوب, he encourages other than him عَلَى حِفْظِهَا, he encourages other than him upon their memorization, or to memorize them. Any question?
لا.
Go ahead, Abu Tahir. That way I can scroll down and be on one page what we read, inshallah.
أما الذي لا يحفظ المتون لا يكون راسخا في العلم ولا يزاهد في حفظ المتون إلا من لا يحفظها. أما الذي يحفظها هو الذي قد عرف قدرها. حفظها وحث غيره على حفظها.
فحفظها, right? فحفظها, past tense. وحث غيره على حفظها. ومن أجل الفنون في العلم وأعظمها. ومن أجل, like we say after Allah's name sometimes, Jalla Jalaluhu, or Azza wa Jal. You will look it up, Jim Lam. It means magnificent, grand, grandois, or grandoise, or whatever, and lofty and great, all of that, Jalla. And from the greatest of funun, of subjects, from again, ba noon, for subject, or art, or discipline, right? Meaning, like, what discipline are you studying, right? Like that, like a subject, a particular discipline. وَمِنْ أَجَلِّ الْفُنُونِ, and from the greatest and grandest of subjects or disciplines, fil ilm, in knowledge. وَأَعْظَمِهَا, here this is majroor, just like ajalla, because of the min. وَأَعْظَمِهَا, and the greatest of them, a'zam, or most tremendous. Huwa ilmu al-aqida, ilmu al-aqidati, knowledge of aqidah. or the science of Aqidah, because ilm is also science, right? Knowledge is science. So you have, for instance, they talk about in secular studies, alim would be a scientist, not just a scholar. And when you study science in school, you study ulum, right? Which is the plural of knowledge, right? Ilmul Aqidah, the science or the knowledge of Aqidah. Lidhalika, li is a preposition for that or towards that. Wada'a, to place. To place. Look it up. Wow, dad, ain. To place. Wada'a, sheikh. Here, sheikhu, because he's the fa'il. Muhammad, because it's a badal for sheikh. I can just say wada'a Muhammad, right? Wada'a sheikhu Muhammad ibnu, because I could just say Ibn Abdul Wahhab, right? So these are all badals. This is a badal for this. This is a badal for this. Wada'a sheikhu Muhammad ibnu Abdul Wahhabi, mudaf ilayh, both times, right? Rahimahullah. He placed. Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, he placed. Rahimahullah. Was Shaykh-ul-Islam. And Shaykh-ul-Islam, meaning Ibn Taymiyyah. Again, with a dhamma, right? Because he's the fa'il here. وَقَبْلَهُ وَقَبْلَهَا or وَقَبْلَهَا, and before them, it should be فَقَبْلَهُمْ, or he could mean, give me 1 second. Qabl means before. Qaf, ba, lam. Qabl means before. Ha here, it could be qablahum, meaning before Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and before Ibn Taymiyyah, or as we said, this is speech he's giving. In his mind, he could have meant before their books. Before their books, and so he said ha, because he meant before the books of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. So it could be qablahum correctly, or it could be qablaha. Wa qablaha al-Imam al-Tahawi. Al-Imamu, because it's the one who did it, right? Al-Tahawi. Wa ghayruhum min a'lam al-Islam. A'lam is from ayn, lam, meen. Like the word alamin, similar to that, right? It's from the same root. But the word here is alam, and it means with a fatha, not alam, like this. Alam is with an alif, means a world or a species, whereas alam means like give me a second. I can't even think of the translation. It means like a flag, but we're talking about a scholar here. So like a sign, kind of like a sign. Like why do you put up a flag? I put up on a, I might put a flag up to let you know a certain marker, right? Like a marker, or a certain mile, or how many laps you have left in a race, or something along that line, right? So an a'lam is the plural of that, meaning these like noble personalities, right? These eminent and luminary, outstanding personalities. So alam is like a distinguishing thing, like a flag would distinguish this from that, from this marker from that marker. So a'lam is the plural of that alam, meaning outstanding men of Islam. So to go back real quick, وَمِنْ أَجَالِ الْفُنُونِ فِي الْعِلْمِ وَأَعْظَمِهَا, and from the loftiest of subjects in knowledge, and the greatest of them, هو العلم العقيدة, it is knowledge of aqidah. ولذلك, and due to that, وضع الشيخ Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab placed Nawaqid-ul-Islam, as did Ibn Taymiyyah, وقبلها al-Imam al-Tahawi, and before their books Imam al-Tahawi did so, وغيرهم من أعلام الإسلام, and other than them from the great scholarly personalities or something like that in Islam. Mutunan, they placed. See, now we're going back to wada'a. Wada'a what? What did they place? Mutunan. They placed texts. بِحِفْظِ الْفَنِ. بِحِفْظِ الْفَنِ. In the memorization of a subject. وَهُوَ الْعَقِيدَةِ, or the subject. Right? وَهُوَ الْعَقِيدَةِ. And it is aqidah. This subject, this fan that we're talking about, that they placed the text for, is aqidah. وَأَوْلْ مَتَنْ يُشْرَحْ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ هُوَ Nawaqid-ul-Islam. And the first, وَأَوْلْ مَتَنٍ, and the first text, يُشْرَحُ, it will be explained, يُشْرَحُ, from sharaha, right, to explain. Yushrahu, to be explained, because it's majhul here. And the first text to be explained, meaning in this dawra that the sheikh gave, right? Wa awal matnin yushrahu bi-idhnillah, with the permission of Allah. Idhin is permission. It's just if you say bi-idhnillah, it's similar to saying insha'Allah. If Allah wills or if Allah permits. Right? وَأَوَّلُ مَتْنٍ يُشْرَحُ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ هُوَ Nawaqid-ul-Islam. And the first matn to be explained, inshallah, is going to be Nawaqid-ul-Islam. Any questions? Read it for us, Abu Tahir.
ومن أجل الفنون في العلم وعظمها هو علم العقيدة. لذلك وضع الشيخ محمد ابن عبد الوهاب رحمه الله والشيخ الإسلام وقبلها الإمام الطحاوي وغيرهم من عالم الإسلام متونا في حفظ الفن وهو العقيدة. والأول المتون يشرح بإذن الله هو Nawaqid-ul-Islam.
Now, I'll say before moving to the next paragraph, which would be the actual start of the book, if this is getting hard, that's good. A person should be doing 2 or 3 things at all times when reading. They should be reading something easy. Something easy that they get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and they pick up a few words. Easy reading, light reading. They should be reading something on their same level.
Confident poses.
Meaning medium or something. We'll say no. We'll say on their level. That's better. Easy might be before their level. Just something you can read in your pastime, and you can understand it. And they should be reading something on their level. Right? Meaning that they're learning. But it's on their level. It's not something that's, racking their mind. But it's something that they got to focus on. And they should be reading something advanced. or above their level in order to push themselves. A year ago, before we started these classes, brothers weren't reading. They weren't picking up an Arabic book, even a one-page Nawaqid-ul-Islam, and trying to read it for real. Every once in a while, alhamdulillah, they would pick it up, they would look at it, but they weren't doing it on an everyday basis. And now, alhamdulillah, 5, 6, 7 days a week, brothers are sitting down with an Arabic book reading it. Right? And so, you're starting to pick stuff up. If you want something easy, you can get a children's book. You want something on your level, then go back and keep reading Nawaqid-ul-Islam, Qawaid al-Arba, Thalathatul Usul, and Al-Arba'un and Nawawi. Right? Keep reading those until you understand every word in them. You've been through them, you understand them, the gist of them. Keep going until you understand it. And you say, man, this would be easy to memorize. As for your advanced level, then maybe this is it, or maybe this isn't advanced enough. Maybe this is your level and you need to get something bigger than this. But at all times, you should have something on these 3 levels that you're participating in. So if this is too hard, good. Because the very first time we read the matan of Nawaqid-ul-Islam, it took us 22 classes to read that one page. And now when we read Nawaqid-ul-Islam, we can read it in 1 hour or less. And so, this is hard, but it's going to get easy if you keep it up. Idnillah. He says here, I'lam. Now we don't have vowels on it. We can put them on there. I'lam. Because it's a fil amr, a command verb. Anna. Nawaqid. I don't know why my pen's not writing good. Nawaqid-ul-Islami. Assalamu alaikum. Ashara. I'lam. Know that the Nawaqid of Islam are Ashara. The nullifiers of Islam are 10. That's the matan. That's easy. The Shaykh underneath this line is his explanation. So the reader, he read, I'lam anna Nawaqid-ul-Islami Ashara. And the Shaykh inserted. Hadha al-matan. This text. Li-Shaykhi. Muhammadi ibn Abdul Wahhab. All of them because of Lih. Lih made Shaykh Majroor, and Muhammad is a bedel for this, and Ibn is a bedel for Muhammad. And then we have Mudaf ilayh. هذا المتن للشيخ محمد بن عبد الوهاب رحمه الله هو Nawaqid-ul-Islam. It is Nawaqid-ul-Islam, the nullifiers of Islam. ولم يضع لها عنوانا رحمه الله. ولم يضع. This is a sukoon here. Why? Because lam makes the noun majzoom. لم يضع لها عنوانا. Unwan, yada is the same as what we had up there, wada'a. When we said, وَلِذَلِكَ وَدَعَ الشيخ محمد بن عبد الوهاب رحمه الله والشيخ الإسلام وقبلها الإمام الطهاوي وغيرهم متونا. وَدَعَ متونا, they placed a text. Basically they wrote text, or they placed a text in the history of Islam. to place something. When you make salat, ad'u yadayka ala sadrik. You place your hands on your chest. Wada'a, tada'a. You place them, right? You can place your laptop in your lap, for example, right? Place. Yada'a, wada'a, yada'u. Here, walam yada' laha unwan. Unwan is the title. The title. And what's the unwan of the book? What's the title of Sahih Bukhari? Is Sahih Bukhari its title? No. This is Jami' Sahih al-Musnad. It's got a long name, right? It's unwan is a long name for real. Unwan can also be an address. Like that's how you know the book. How do I know this book from this book? How do I know the difference? Because of the title. How do I know this house from this house? Because of the address, right? So, وَلَمْ يَدَعْ لَهَا عُنْوَانٍ. And he didn't place for it a title. Ibn Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah did not give this book a title. Meaning, he wrote the book and later on somebody gave it the title Nawaqid-ul-Islam and it just stuck. Any questions? Okay, let's stop here so we don't go too much overboard, over time, because the next thing is a longer paragraph that will take, a little bit more time. So we'll stop here, inshallah, with Abu Tahir reading for us. You can read the Metan and the Shar, huh? The Metan and the Shar.
علم أن نواقض الإسلام 10. هذا المتن للشيخ محمد بن عبد الوهاب رحمه الله وهو نواقض الإسلام ولم يدع لها عنوانا رحمه الله.
Now, he didn't place for it laha unwanan. Inshallah, what's today? Monday. Tomorrow is Nahul Wadih. Then we'll come back the next day, inshallah, with more of this. I hope you're benefiting. Like I said, I recommend that you print it out. And as we go over it, take a pencil, put your vowel markings on it as we're reading, as we make little comments if you need to. That way, when it's time to read, you'll be able to do so. If you don't remember it all. But take your time and do that, inshallah. You got till the next 2 days because tomorrow is Nahul Wadih. And you can have an extra day to print it out, right? Inshallah.
Maybe I'll just try to leave it like it is. Be slower reading though.
What'd you say?
I'll just leave it like it. So I'll just leave it like it is, but it'll just be slower reading, more correct.
As you like. As you like. I'm trying to make it comfortable for you, that's all. In the meantime, like I said, tomorrow's Nahul Wadih, and in the meantime, Abdullah is going to text us some benefits from the program, inshallah. He's going to give us some good texts. He's not just going to tell us about everybody he met, mashallah, what kind of food he ate and all that stuff. Rather, oh man, these dudes feeding me like this, they took me here, I went to dinner here. Oh man, I want to hear some fawaid, man. I want to hear about what you ate and who you saw, man. I don't care about that, man. You ain't see Sheikh Saleh Suhaimi or something. Even if you saw him, man, he don't care if you saw him. He wants you to benefit from his knowledge, man. I was gonna text us. How many benefits? He got what? He said he got a whole lot. What's a good number, Abu Tahir?
Don't be bad for that now. You already jumped all in it, man.
I think Come with it, brother.
Yeah, come. He ain't gonna put no number on it. He gonna make it maksura on you. He's not gonna make it maksura, limited. He's gonna give you the opportunity to give us as many as you want. Assalamu alaikum wa
I like the
rahmatullahi wa
whole
barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.